Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Today I come up with the last revision video. And in this video, I'm going to tell you something about different methodologies. How can we join together to get a valid result? And the second portion of this video, we have to discuss something about the different approaches we have in solving sociological problem. So let's begin with positivism. Obviously, when we talk about sociology, it's the systematic study of society, and it is very difficult to understand a society. There are different views, there are different approaches which are used to understand a specific or a particular society. But generally, today in my video, I'm going to tell you about the three different universal approaches which sociologists use to understand different societies. So one of them is positivism. According to this approach, the positivist approach, the thing is we try to understand society through different institutions. For instance, if I talk about Pakistan, for example, the population of Pakistan is 222 million, right? So it's very difficult to understand as Pakistan as a society. Because there are different cultures, different things which are mixing with each other. We spend a lot of time with Indians, so there is a mixture of Indian culture as well. So it is difficult to give you a clear picture of a specific society. So the positive approach is basically we need to understand society as we understand a social subject or a social science. For instance, like physics, chemistry, biology, if we got certain methods just to understand these natural sciences. And whenever we talk about the natural sciences, we got like observation, experimentation, deduction, generalization, then we got law or a theory. So this is a pattern we follow whenever we study our scientific subject. So according to positivist, we need to take the same methodology to understand society. For that purpose, we try to figure out the different institutions which run the society. So instead understanding the behavior of the people, because there's million of people who are present in a society, for positivist it is an easy approach to understand the functionality or the structure of different institutions. Through institutions we have an idea about a society. For example, I tell you one thing. I mean, a society consists of so many institutions. There are so many institutions we can simply run a society, or observe a society, or communicate a society. So, what is the function of institutions? Every single institution give you a sort of pressure, give you a framework according to which an individual can span his life or span his interaction with other people. So, according to positive approach, we need to understand institutions. And what institutions usually do? Institutions draw a collective conscience. So collective conscience is a pressure, is a framework we simply apply on individual. So for instance, I'm a teacher, uh, and according to institutions, according to collective conscience, there is an unseen pressure I have to prove to be a good teacher, right? So in society is understood through institutions draw collective conscience is a framework, a pressure, or you can say a watch, uh, through which we are able to understand society. I will give you an example for that purpose. For instance, if I talk about Singapore or any developed country, I have heard something about that. You are not allowed to spit on a road. So how could it possible to have an estimation about the people's behavior, for instance, who are living in Singapore or developed countries? If you spit on the road, or for instance, you simply throw a piece of cigarette on the road, you are fined for $10. So how can we get information? How can we get a result about the behavior of the people? So for instance, according to an institution or a department who collect and give us the data about the fine are collected in a month, we can estimate about the behavior of the people. So for instance, in a month we got a result that almost you can say $200 are collected as the fine. for those people who throw the piece of cigarettes are spit on the road. So this means, I mean, people are aware of all so many things. I mean, at least they really know how to behave properly on the roads, because $200 means, for instance, only 20 people out of million people, I mean, make a mistake or do something which is totally, you can say, beyond the level. So this is the way we can understand, try to understand. You can even say that, for instance, if we talk about Pakistan, we know something about the motorway police. So the monthly amount which is collected as a fine, we can understand the awareness of the people, how the people behave on motorways. So this is one of the things. If we try to understand society, we can learn our society through mathematical, through natural science. So we take society as a science subject. We try to find digits, and through digits we are able to understand what is the functionality of the society and how people are behaving. So in positivism, we got two or three things we need to understand. First of all, obviously, it's all about the scientific approach. We need to learn society as natural science. This is the one thing. Second thing is that it's all about the digits. Second thing. Third thing is that there are unseen forces. Unseen forces which are acting on the society, pressurizing the individual to line up their behavior. Right. So this is we have in positivism. Obviously, the positivist approach is all about the digits, statistical data through which we have a sort of ideology about the people, how people are behaving in different situations. This is the positivism. And positivism is all about, you can say, it's quantitative data. Positivism have a sort of link, a natural tendency to merge with quantitative data. The second thing we have is interpretivism. What is interpretivism? As I mentioned earlier, positivism is all about the digits, the statistical data. So it means we simply know in positivism what is the objectivity, the digits, the crime. For instance, what is happening? Crime is happening. You are giving fine for certain crimes, pressurizing each and everything like that. So in interpretivism, we got, first of all, the very important thing to understand. Interpretivism is all about the interpretation, how you interpret. So a researcher is able to interpret the situation. In interpretivism, individuals' behavior is the key factor. We need to understand the behavior of the people while they are interacting with each other. As in positivism, we got collective conscience, but in interpretivism, we got free will. What is free will? Obviously, it's very, you can say, very easy to understand. Free will is your tendency, your approach, your inclination, your interest while dealing with different situations and different scenarios. So for instance, if you have a row, you got stuck in the road, you behave in a very different way. So basically, interpretivist is a kind of approach in which we simply observe the free will of the individual, through which we got some sort of imagination, sort of idea how people behave in different situations. So this is a kind of result, this is a kind of approach which is far more better, just to understand why people behave in certain situations. So positivism is all about what, and interpretivism is all about why people behave in different situations. And secondly, I mean, there's a wide range we have in interpretivism, because in interpretivism we have a sort of idea, as I mentioned earlier, why people behave in it. So we need to find out the justification. For instance, a people steal money, and he steal almost 50 rupees. So I mean, in interpretivism, we are more interested, more keen to understand why he steal, why he steals. So the thing can be ignored or not, because we need to go in detail to investigate, I mean, why this little amount is stealed by a single individual. Right. So this is what we have in interpretivism. Interpretivism is a bit difficult, because while we are trying to investigate the people's behavior, individuals' behavior, I mean, how people have the pleasure, the liberty to act according to their free will. So free will is there in interpretivism. And interpretivism is all about the person's behavior. It's all about action and reaction, how a reaction trigger, which trigger the reaction. So this is what we have in interpretivism. Interpretivism gives you more detail, is more closely involved to the solution of a specific social problem. This is, we have two things. The third thing we have is the realism. As it, as a term, you can say, simply give us an idea. Realism, it's all about a reality. So the persons are the sociologists which try to work on reality. What is the matter is all about, what people behave in reality, the pure form. This is all about we have in realism. So a realist, a sociologist which deals with this kind of approach, the realism, it's more keen to mix two things together. Normally in modern world, realism is the mixture of two things. It is often called as positivism, and when we talk about the realism, it means we have a sort of ratio like 60% positivism and 40% realism. So basically it is a combination of two different approaches together to get a good, positive and more realistic result. There are so many sociologists these days, in the modern world, who are working on sociology as a realist approach. So realism, as I mentioned earlier, it's all about the reality, what people actually want to do, what is the tendency or the inclination of the people while they are dealing in a specific situation or in a specific scenario. So this is we have in realism. Okay, so all we have, it's all about the approaches. Now I switch to another term, which is pluralism or pluralistic approach. What is pluralistic approach? Are the methodological pluralism. What is all about this? So see that sometimes it's possible we want to get a good result. I keep on mentioning so many times in my previous videos, digits are very important. Why digits are important? Because digits give us a sort of alarm, an ultimatum that we need to be concerned about a specific issue. So methodological pluralism is all about the same thing. For instance, we got data in form of quantitative research. So we got quantitative data, we got qualitative data. So it's important to understand the significance of their joint venture. I mean, if we put these two different data together, then we are able to understand, how important a thing is and how can we resolve a specific social problem. Uh, in methodological pluralism, we have an ease, we got the pleasure to mix two things together. For instance, we can say that the weakness of one method is try to compensate with the strength of other method. For instance, if I want to know something about the behavior of the people, so obviously I'm interested to know something about the digits, but at the same time doesn't just give me a sort of alarm or the ultimatum how important the issue is. But for resolving the issue, for resolving the sociological problem, I need to know what is deep inside this specific matter, and the speciality is always solved with the help of behavior. And for instance, I give you an example of it. People commit suicide. We keep on saying the same term for so long, suicide. If I simply say in year 2022, there are 1,000 people in Pakistan who commit suicide. Uh, Obviously, it's a bit alarming. We need to investigate why people commit suicide. The 1,000 people. So this is what we have in, and we have this in quantitative data. But if we want to know the reasons behind the committing suicide, we need to understand, we need to investigate the reasons, the factors which are involved to push you on that level you are ready to give away your life. So there must be certain issues which are involved by committing suicide. So the weakness of statistical data is compensated by the strength of the qualitative data. We need to investigate the family, the victims, the members of the family who commit suicide. So we need to investigate them, we need to ask them, we need to know something about the people who did this. They simply you can say get rid of their life. So just to understand this, we need to gel two different things together. So in methodological pluralism, we combine qualitative data with quantitative data to go for a solution. This is we have in methodological pluralism. The next and the last term we have to discuss is triangulation. What is triangulation? Sometimes it happens that we need to need to have two or three things together. What we need to understand? We need to understand this thing. Triangulation means we are working in two or three different ways to understand specific issues. So in triangulation, basically what we have to join uh, different things together. For instance, we can have positivism. When we talk about the positivism, we know we have a sort of idea. Positivism, it's all about the mathematical data, statistical data. So how can we get statistical data? Obviously, positivism is all about to have a link with quantitative data. And when we talk about the interpretivism is all about the behavior of the people. So when we talk about the behavior of the people, it's all about the understanding of people's behavior. And when we talk about the understanding of the people's behavior, so we need to learn something about the participant observation. If the person is personally involved in the situation and they try to interact with the people just to understand the behavior of the people, so then we are able to understand our society, our an issue, or a case study in an appropriate way. So basically, methodological pluralism and triangulation, these two different things are there to understand a society in a specific way. And in those approaches, we are supposed to link a couple of things together. Different approaches, positivism plus interpretivism together, one thing. Second thing, we need to understand how these different approaches can be together just to have a good result. But at the same time, we need to combine different, you can say, pairing. Like, we need to know something, how can we get rid of questionnaire? Because in questionnaire is all about the quantitative data. I'm not sure in the quantitative data we are able to understand how valid the results are. It's all about the digits, but we are not sure how valid or you can say authentic the result is, because the researcher is far away from the actual picture. Either it's possible for the respondent to fill the forms or the survey or the questionnaire on their own, or they simply thrash the same stuff to the bin or to any other person just to solve for yourself. So this is we have in questionnaire a lot of doubts in it. Just to compensate this weakness of questionnaire, we need to be there. For instance, a person personally involve himself or herself with a specific scenario, with a specific matter, and try to get maximum out of the respondent. So in a nutshell, one can say that methodological pluralism, triangulation, we have to mix different approaches together. We need to mix up different methods together, or more than two or three different methods together, to get a good positive result. And we got so many examples in the modern days, but people are the sociologists trying their level best to get a good result. And what, for instance, it is possible that you are merging a person who has already did the same stuff. You can simply take the help out of his previous research. It is possible. So it is possible that in triangulation, a single person is approaching towards two or three different methods together to find a good result, one thing. Even it is possible two or three different researchers are using the same method. So two, three different, first of all, one person or more person using the same method. Second, different persons using the same methods. And the third and the lastly, different persons, different researcher having different methods together to get a more valid, more comprehensive and more complete result. But still we are talking about sociology. Still we are talking about a society is the mixture of so many different individuals, different cultural backgrounds people have while they're living in society. They're always, you can say, it's a mixing of civilization as well. We have this world has turned into a global village where civilization, there is a clash of civilization. Then there is a portion of religion who provoke people for their superiority. So there are so many things which are involved, we are unseen while understanding in society. So it is always difficult, always impossible to give a very representative, very accurate result while understanding a social problem and trying to solve this problem. But what we can do, just try to have new and new methodologies, have to mix so many different things just to try a more popular result. A popular result is alhamdulillah, is a result which give you the high percentage of representativeness, high percentage of validity, and it's the objectivity. It's important to understand as well. So till now, I mean, I try my level best to three different videos just to revise what is data, how can we collect data, what are the different sources we collect data, and from today video I try my level best to give you a sort of idea. The last thing I need to mention before I mean simply wrap up the discussion is that these videos just give you a sort of help, a boost, a sort of understanding, just make you familiar with different terms and terminologies, just give you a sort of idea what are the contents we are supposed to study in future, how can we prepare the basic things which are involved in the understanding of this subject sociology. Keep watching and do send me different comments, so through which we it will be a boost for me as well, and through your feedback I can simply try to improve which is required from your side. Till then, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.